We're just 7 days away from Georgia's G-Day scrimmage in Athens, our first look at the 2023 Georgia Bulldogs. And while it's not quite yet recruiting season for Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs, there's plenty of recruiting still going on. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down which top prospects will be in town for official visits. Now, most of them are going to be happening in June. Aaron Butler, a four-star athlete out of Calabasas High School in California, will be taking his official visit to Georgia next week, he told me, the weekend of G-Day. But June is where it all kicks off. We've seen the last few years, kids take official visits in June, probably make their decisions in July, get all that recruiting stuff out of the way before their senior season starts. And that's what's going to happen again this summer. I expect a massive month of June. It's going to start that first weekend of June, a giant list of official visitors, and it all starts with Dylan Raiola, five-star quarterback out of Arizona. You know all about him right now. Number one quarterback prospect in the country. Right now, the only official visit that I am aware of that he has scheduled is to Georgia, and it's that first weekend of June. Still think USC is very much in the mix. Nebraska has those family ties. Obviously, his dad was a Nebraska legend, played there before playing with Matthew Stafford in the Detroit Lions for a number of years. So still Georgia, USC, Nebraska battle, but everything I've heard over the last several weeks now since his last visit to Georgia has been that the Bulldogs are probably still the team to beat here. They're going to take two quarterbacks, obviously, Ryan Puglisi on board. He's going to take his official visit later in June. But that first weekend, Dylan Raiola will be in town along with Nikar, four-star speedy, explosive wide receiver already on the commit list out of Colquitt County in Moultrie. Had a big junior season, easy vertical threat, quick, elusive, again, explosive. Will bring plenty of speed to Georgia's wide receiver room for the future. Sokovi White, three-star wide receiver commitment out of Cass High School in Bartow County, North Georgia. He's going to be in town that weekend as well. He told me during the February Under Armour camp in Atlanta, he said, hey, I want to be there when everyone else is. I want to do some recruiting. I want to be there for the biggest weekend. And right now, it appears that big weekend is the first one, the weekend of June 3rd. So Dylan Raiola will be in town. Nikar will be in town. Sokovi White will be in town. Justin Scott, a five-star defensive tackle. I believe he's from the Chicago area. He's going to be in town also. I think Notre Dame is the team to look out for there. But, an elite interior defensive lineman. We've seen Georgia do great things with those type of linemen. Between, Jordan Davis, Devonta Wyatt, both first rounders. Jalen Carter is going to be a first rounder. Bear Alexander looks the part of a first rounder. And you need these elite interior guys who can eat up space, can control, the gaps outside of the center and between the tackles, and can make plays in the backfield as well. So, your job isn't just to make room for the linebackers and take on blocks. You've got to make plays as well. And you've got to get into the backfield, get those TFLs, get those sacks from the interior. That's what makes a defense specialist. You've got interior defensive linemen who can get after the quarterback, collapse the pocket, and make things tough. Quarterbacks don't want to throw with a guy right in their face. It's easier if they've got guys, edge defenders coming around that can step up in the pocket. But if you can't step up in the pocket, things are really difficult, as we've seen over the last few years. Georgia's been able to do that from the inside. Justin Scott is a guy that they're pushing hard for. He's going to be in town for an official visit that weekend. He said that visit, a while ago. So Georgia's been in the mix with him for a good bit. Again, I think Notre Dame might be the team to beat. Got to watch out for a few of those other Midwest schools. But, big time out-of-state kid from the Midwest. Definitely someone to keep an eye on. Not great across the country as far as interior defensive linemen, but Edric Houston, he's going to be in town, I believe, in June. I don't believe he set an exact date yet. I could be wrong there, but, big time player out of Buford who played on the edge. But he's about 255, 260. When he gains more weight and muscle, he's going to slide inside. I think Georgia's in a really good spot for him. And a few others. Don't want to name all the names on YouTube because I'm trying to get y'all over to Dog Post, right, to read the full list that I've got going on there. But, of course, did want to share some of these names. So Cam Michael out of Statesboro High School down in South Georgia, plays quarterback, explosive. I think Georgia likes him at wide receiver, but a little tricky there. They've got four defensive backs already on the commit list. Obviously, KJ Bolden, a five-star safety, one of the top players across the country, out of Buford High School nearby. he's got the green lights to jump on board whenever he wants. He would be number 5. So for a guy like Cam Michael and a few other defensive backs still looking at Georgia, if you want to get on board, you better do it right now. But he's definitely a guy to watch. June 9th, the following weekend, Jalen Hayward, 4-star safety from Florida. He's going to be in town for his official visit. Another big-time safety, Charles Lester, one of the top safety prospects in the country. He's going to be there June 9th. Amari Jefferson out of the Baylor School in Chattanooga. He's going to be in town as well. I think Georgia is a team kind of surging for him right now. Then Malachi Tolliver, 3-star offensive lineman out of Cartersville High School. He's going to be in town for an official visit as well. Nitro Tuggle, a guy high on my all-name team. He's going to be in town later in June for an official visit. So, like I said, June is going to be a massive month. We'll see how many, commitments, public commitments will happen in June. I know a lot of silent commitments are going to happen in June on these weekends. And then, of course, more public commitments will come out in July. That's just how it goes. But a lot of these guys will be in town for G-Day, in 7 days. When you're watching this, 6 or 7 days, I'm hoping to have a giant visitor list for that as well. Always one of the biggest recruiting weekends of the year is G-Day. I expect a ton of players to be in town. The weather's supposed to be great. And again, everyone wants to see what this Georgia team looks like. Do they have a chance to go for a three-peat? I obviously think that they do. And I've heard from a lot of guys who have been on campus in March and already in this month. I mean, the Georgia staff has been crazy busy with spring practice, getting the team together, having prospects in town to watch practice. All of these kids have said, how impressive Kirby Smart runs practices. It's all about competitiveness. It's all about energy. Guys are just flying around. They love to compete. And it's the energy that they have in practice that really stands out with a lot of these big-time players, especially these out-of-state guys who are taking maybe their first or second visit to Georgia. They've noticed and they've told me, and you can read about a lot of these guys in articles that I've written over the past few weeks, like, hey, it's really impressive the way, they just work, the work ethic of these guys. They're out ready to compete, to earn a starting job, to maintain their starting job if they were a starter last week. I mean, there's so much talent. I've talked about the incoming freshmen. They're looking to play. And these older guys who, may have solidified their position on the team, whether they're starting or, playing a good bit, they've got to hold off these young guys. And it's not going to be easy, but it's easy to see the talent on this roster. Obviously for me, because I've covered these kids and I've watched a lot of them in high school, but these recruits that are coming in now, they're like, hey man, if I go to Georgia, I got to work hard. I got to compete every single day, and they get after it. And so I do think that Georgia has risen in a lot of these kids, recruitment just by watching practice. And I know on these official visits, that's when Kirby Smart and the staff do their best. When they get face to face with these kids, with these parents, show them the rings, show them everything in Buttsmere, all the trophies, show all the first round picks on the wall. The campus is beautiful. The academic side of things at Georgia is almost as good as you'll get across the country. Georgia checks just about every box that a big-time football prospect is looking for. And on an official visit, they know what they're showing these guys. They know what's going to work. So for a lot of these kids, it's not about depth chart. It's not about playing time, because at a place like Georgia where you win, there's 5 stars in front of you, and there's guys who have been in the program and know what to do, know how to work, know how to compete. So, Kirby Smart and his staff, they're not telling guys, hey, come in and start immediately. It's not like that. They show these kids, hey, we can do this for you. What your plan is, what is your goal, we can get you there. Overall, it's about development and it's about winning. If you want to win championships and you want to be developed and practice against the best of the best every day to get you better, Georgia's the place for you. And that's just one of the many messages they get out to these kids. And at the end of the day, as you can see, we're printing championship books, because that's what this team is doing. They are winning championships, and it's easy to have these kids on official visits and win them over when you do have the rings and the trophies to back it up. So it's only going to get easier for this staff. They're already full of ace recruiters. They were bringing in 5 stars when they didn't have championship or national championship trophies in the building. Now they've got 2 of them back to back. I think they have a real chance to, for a three-peat. And they're going to tell that to these kids on these official visits. So at the end of the day, June 3rd, Dylan Raiola, Nykar, Jacoby White, Justin Scott, Cam Michael, and a few others, quite a few others, actually. I'm hoping to have a big list over on Dog Post sooner than later, but, you know, get ready, get your popcorn ready. June is going to be a massive month of recruiting for Georgia. I expect quite a few commitments in July moving forward, but that's still a little ways ahead. But right now it's all about spring practice, getting y'all ready for G-Day, and I hope that you are on Dog Post to read about all of it. Thank you for watching. Always appreciate it, and I'll see you over on the website.